There is something no one ever taught you about conversations. Not in school, not by your father, not by anyone who raised you. And the reason no one taught you is because the people around you never learned it either. They were caught in the same trap you've been caught in your whole life. A trap so smooth, so invisible, so perfectly designed that it doesn't feel like a trap at all. It feels like being a good person. Here is what I mean.
Think about the last time someone did something that affected you, made a decision that involved your time, your name, your resources. And then, after it was already done, they looked at you and asked if you were okay with it. And you said yes. Think about the last time someone prefaced their opinion with the words, "Can I be honest with you?" And you opened the door and let them walk through it. Think about the last time someone came to you with their problem, asked what you would do in their position, and then somehow, months later, when things went wrong, your name was the one attached to the wreckage. You said yes. You opened the door. You gave your name, and it felt like the right thing to do in the moment. It felt like being reasonable, cooperative, trustworthy. But something was taken from you in each of those exchanges. Something quiet, something you can't point to, but you can feel. A slow erosion of the position you thought you had. A slow accumulation of weight you never agreed to carry. What was taken from you was your frame. And you gave it away not because you were weak. You gave it away because you were never shown what these questions actually are. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to walk you through isn't theory. It isn't abstract philosophy. It is the exact mechanism behind 5 questions that have been running on you your entire life. At work, at home, in friendships, in relationships. And the reason you never caught them is because they were designed not to be caught. They were designed to feel like conversation, like trust, like someone who cares about you. The men who built empires, the strategists, the rulers, the architects of lasting power. They studied this, not in books, in rooms, in courts, in the conversations that ended alliances and shifted fortunes and destroyed reputations without a single act of violence. They watched carefully, and they noticed one thing that most people still haven't figured out 5 centuries later. The people who fall don't get defeated. They get asked the right question at the right moment by the right person, and they answer. I'm going to show you all 5, and the 5th one is the root. The one that makes every other question possible. But you need to see the first 4 to understand why the 5th is the one that matters most. Before we go further, this is not about becoming paranoid. This is not about turning every conversation into a battlefield. This is about the difference between someone who gives things away by default and someone who chooses what they give. That is not suspicion. That is intelligence. And once you see these questions for what they are, you cannot unsee them. That is the last time you'll go into a conversation without your eyes open. You don't mind, right? The first question. You'll recognize it the moment I say it because it has happened to you more times than you've counted. Someone acts. They make a decision. They commit something on your behalf, your time, your energy, your name, your Saturday. The decision is already made. The thing is already done. And then, after the fact, they turn to you and ask, "You don't mind, right?" Stop. Listen to what just happened. That is not a question. That is a notification dressed as a request. The action was already taken. The thing is already in motion. The only purpose of that sentence is to get your signature on something you never agreed to. And it is worded in a way that makes disagreement feel like aggression, because the expected answer is no. No, I don't mind. It's fine. And anything else, anything that sounds like, actually, I do mind, makes you look difficult, petty, unreasonable. The question was engineered so that saying yes costs you nothing in the moment and costs you everything over time, and saying no costs you socially right now. Most men absorb the violation and say it's fine, and the person asking knows this. That's exactly why they acted first and asked second. Think about how many times this pattern has run on you. Someone gave away your weekend and said, "You don't mind helping out, right?" Someone shared something private about you and said,
You're not upset about that, are you? Someone took credit for your work and said, "We're a team, so it doesn't matter who gets the credit," right? Every single time you signed off, every single time that signature told them something, that they can act first and collect your approval afterward, and they will do it again.
And the next time the violation will be larger, more invasive, more costly. Because every time you say it's fine to something you didn't choose, you raise the ceiling on what they believe they can take without asking. The question, "You don't mind," doesn't just get your compliance. It gets your signature on a contract you never read. And if you ever bring it up later, they'll say, "But you said you were fine with it." So when someone asks you this, you don't nod. You don't say it's fine. You say, "I would have preferred if you'd asked me first." You don't need volume, you don't need a scene. You just don't sign what you didn't read. The moment you stop doing that, something shifts. People stop informing you and start consulting you. That is not a small shift. That is your entire position in the dynamic, changed by refusing one question. If you're watching this and something already feels familiar, if you're recognizing these patterns in conversations you've had recently, stay with me. Because the second question is harder to spot. It doesn't come after a violation. It comes before one, and it's disguised as something only a trustworthy person would say. Can I be honest with you? The second question, and this one works because saying no to it makes you look like a coward. What kind of person refuses honesty? What kind of person closes the door on truth? So you say yes, every time, every single time. And in that yes, you've done something you didn't realize. You've given someone permission to say whatever they want while framing it as a gift they're giving you. You've handed them a weapon and called it openness. Think about the last time someone said that to you. Can I be honest with you? What came next? Was it something that expanded you? Something that built you up? Or was it something that planted a seed of doubt? I don't think this is going to work. I'm not sure you're ready. I don't think you're making the right call. And because they asked permission first, because they called it honesty, you have no defense. You can't be upset. They were just being honest. They were just trying to help. But notice the pattern across your life. The person who says, "Can I be honest with you?" almost never follows it with something that increases your confidence. They follow it with doubt, with criticism, with something that slows you down. And they get to deliver all of it from behind the word honest, a word you cannot attack without sounding like you're afraid of the truth. Here is what real honesty looks like. The people who genuinely have your back, the ones who have earned the right to say difficult things to you, they don't ask permission first. They just say it. Because real honesty doesn't need a runway. It doesn't need your defenses lowered before it arrives. The people who ask, "Can I be honest?" know that what they're about to say won't feel like care. They need your agreement to receive it before you hear what it is. If they said it cold, you'd recognize it immediately. Remove the preamble and look at what's underneath. That's the real content. The disguise is the question. The strategists understood this, that the most effective manipulations are the ones wrapped in the language of virtue. When someone strikes you from behind the shield of honesty or care or courage, you cannot fight back without looking like the problem. You become the person who can't handle truth. They become the brave friend who was just looking out for you. The frame is rigged before the conversation starts. So when someone asks you this, you don't say, "Of course." You say, "Depends on what it's about." Or, "You can say whatever you want. I'll decide what I do with it." Watch what happens. Most people stutter. They backtrack because the entire strategy was built on your automatic yes. The moment you don't give it, the weapon has no armor. They have to say the thing without honesty protecting them. And suddenly it sounds like what it always was, an opinion they wanted to deliver without consequences. What would you do if you were me? The third question, and the most flattering trap of the 5, because this one makes you feel important right before it makes you responsible. Someone comes to you with their situation, a crossroads, a decision they say they can't make. They lay it out and then they look at you with that expression, "I trust your judgment more than my own." What would you do? and you answer. Because it feels good to be the one someone turns to. Because it feels like respect. So you weigh the options carefully and you give them your honest recommendation. But here's what actually happened. That person had a decision to make. A decision with real consequences. And instead of carrying the full weight of it on their own shoulders, they transferred part of it to yours. Because now, if they follow your advice and it works, they get the credit. You disappear. But if they follow your advice and it fails, your name is the one they remember. They replay the conversation. They hold you responsible for a choice that was never yours to make. Think about a time you gave someone advice and it didn't work out. Did they own the decision? Or did they come back to you with, "You told me to do this"? Maybe they didn't say it out loud, but you felt it. The weight of someone else's choice landed on you because you put your fingerprints on it. And fingerprints are evidence. And sometimes the person asking isn't confused at all. They've already decided. They already know what they want to do. But they want someone else's name attached to the decision in case it collapses. A fall guy. And by answering, you volunteer for the role without knowing you auditioned. So when someone asks, "What would you do if you were me?" you don't give them the answer. You give them something better. You ask, "What are you leaning toward?" You say, "It sounds like you already know." You put the decision back in their hands without touching it. You can listen. You can support. You can ask questions that help them think. But your name stays off the paperwork. Let people own their decisions. Your recommendations about other people's lives are safest in the only place no one can hold them against you. Inside your head. You've seen 3 questions now. Compliance, honesty, decisions. All 3 running on you constantly. All 3 invisible until this moment. But the 4th moves into darker territory. The first 3 took something from you. The 4th uses you to take something from someone who isn't even in the room. It turns you into a weapon without telling you you've been loaded. Who told you that? The 4th question, you confront someone. You bring something to the table. Something you heard, something you saw, something that proves they aren't who they've been presenting themselves as. And instead of addressing what you just said, instead of dealing with the substance of the accusation, they look at you and ask, "Who told you that?" The entire conversation pivots in that moment. You're no longer talking about what they did. You're talking about how you found out. They've redirected the confrontation away from their behavior and aimed it at your source. And if you answer, if you give them a name, you've done 2 catastrophic things simultaneously. You've betrayed the person who trusted you with that information, and you've given the person you're confronting a target. Someone to punish, someone to discredit, someone to cut off so the flow of truth stops permanently. Think about what happens after you give the name. The person you were confronting now has a new mission, not to address what they did, but to eliminate whoever exposed it. They go after the source. They discredit them. They make sure that person never tells you anything again. And the next time something happens behind your back, you won't hear about it. Because the one person who would have told you has been burned. By you. Because you answered a question that was never about truth. It was about control. It was about shutting down the only eyes and ears you had. The people who bring you truth are rare. They are valuable. They are assets. And the question, "Who told you that?" exists for one purpose: to identify and eliminate those assets so that you go blind. Answering it doesn't make you honest. It makes you a liability to every person who ever cared enough to tell you what was really happening. So when someone asks, "Who told you that?" you don't give a name. You bring it back to the substance. It doesn't matter how I found out. What matters is whether it's true. The source stays protected. The person who tried to redirect has nowhere to go except back to the thing they were running from. Let them sit in that. 4 questions, 4 mechanisms, all sealed, but I told you at the beginning that the 5th is the root, the one that makes the other 4 possible. And here it is. This question doesn't take your compliance or your guard or your name or your source. It does something worse. It disarms you completely before any of the others arrive. It kills the pause.
The one thing standing between you and every trap in this video. And you hand it over instantly because refusing feels like a crime. You trust me, right? The fifth question, the master question. Someone looks at you and says, "You trust me, right?" And everything in you wants to say yes. Because saying no feels like an accusation. It feels like you're calling them a liar. It feels like you are the problem, the suspicious one, the person damaging the relationship by refusing to give them this one simple word. So you say it. "Of course I trust you." And every gate opens at once, because the moment you say those words, you've locked yourself into a position where questioning anything they do next makes you the hypocrite. You said you trusted them. So when they act without asking and say, "You don't mind, right?" You can't push back. You trusted them. When they say, "Can I be honest with you?" and tear you apart, you have to stand there and absorb it. You trusted them. When they ask what you would do in their situation and then blame you when it fails, you can't object. You trusted them. When they get caught and demand to know who told you, you feel the pull to answer because you trusted them. That one word, that one yes. It became a blank check, and they fill in the amount every time. Think about someone in your life who has asked you this. "You trust me, right?" Think about what happened in the weeks and months after you said yes. Did their behavior earn that trust? Or did they use your declaration as a shield? Every time something felt wrong, every time you wanted to question something, every time your instincts told you to look more carefully, you couldn't, because you'd already committed to not questioning. With one word, here is what no one tells you. The people who have genuinely earned your trust never ask for it. They don't need to. Their behavior already built it. Trust that is real doesn't require a declaration. It exists in what someone does consistently over months, over years, not in what someone asks you to say in a single moment. The question, "You trust me, right?" is only asked by people who need the words because their actions haven't been sufficient. They need you to say it because they cannot show it. And the moment you say it, you've given them immunity, a shield they hold up every time their behavior falls short of what they promised. This is the master question because it is the root of the other four. Why did you absorb the violation instead of pushing back? Because you trusted them. Why did you lower your guard when they asked to be honest? Because you trusted them. Why did you carry the weight of their decision? Because you trusted them. Why did you give up the name of someone who was protecting you? Because you trusted them. Every trap in this video runs on this one answer. Kill this answer and the other four lose their power. So when someone asks, "You trust me, right?" you don't say yes, you don't say no. You say, "I pay attention to what people do." Short, clean, unassailable, or actions show me that, not words. Watch the reaction. The person who has earned your trust will nod and move on. They don't need the words. Their life already speaks. But the person who needed that yes, the person whose next move depended on your declaration, they'll press, they'll push, they'll get uncomfortable. And in that pressure, in that insistence, you'll see exactly why they needed the declaration. Because the behavior was never going to hold up on its own. 5 questions. You don't mind, right? Retroactive compliance. Can I be honest with you? Permission to strike. What would you do if you were me? Decision transfer. Who told you that? Source elimination. You trust me, right? The blank check. The master question. The root. Now look at your life with these 5 in mind. Who around you keeps acting first and asking later? Because they've learned you'll always say it's fine. Who uses the word honest right before they plant doubt in your head? Who keeps coming to you for advice but somehow it's your fault when things don't work out? Who deflected the last time you confronted them by asking how you found out instead of addressing what they did? And who in your life keeps asking for trust with words because they haven't been able to show it with actions? Answer those questions honestly. Because the answers will show you exactly who has been running these 5 questions on you and how long it has been working. If you're watching this and you're thinking of someone specific right now, someone whose face came to mind during one of these 5 questions, Share this video with them. Not to start a conflict, because the person who needs to see this most is always the one closest to someone who's been using it. They deserve to see what's been happening, and they may never find this on their own. You've been in thousands of conversations where one of these 5 questions appeared and you never felt the extraction. It felt like talking, like connecting, like being a good person. And it is. It's just not a protected person. But now you hear it. You hear the retroactive consent forming. You hear the setup before the strike. You feel the weight of someone else's decision moving toward your shoulders. You hear the redirect away from substance toward source. And you feel the blank check sliding across the table. You hear all 5 now, and you cannot unhear them. This is not about suspecting everyone. Some people in your life are safe, and they proved it through years of consistent action, not through a single question in a single conversation. This is about becoming intentional, choosing what you give instead of giving everything by default. The difference between the man who gets maneuvered in every conversation and the man who cannot be moved, it is not intelligence, it is not experience, it is one thing: the pause. The single beat of silence between the question and your answer, where you stop reacting and start choosing. Build that pause starting today. The next time someone asks one of these 5 questions, don't answer on reflex. Let one beat pass. Feel what the question is pulling from you, and then decide. Give something if they've earned it. Give nothing if they haven't. But make it a choice, not a habit. Because the difference between someone who is permanently readable and someone people cannot outmaneuver is not personality. It is discipline. And that discipline lives entirely in the silence between the question and the answer. In the coming weeks, something will shift. You'll feel it in real time. Conversations will feel different, not tense, not guarded, just clearer. You'll notice the moment someone asks for retroactive permission instead of real permission. You'll catch the word honest being loaded before it's delivered. You'll feel the weight of someone's decision sliding toward you, and you'll step aside. You'll hold your sources when someone tries to redirect a confrontation. And you'll sit calmly when someone asks for trust they haven't built. And the people around you will sense it. They won't be able to name it. You won't seem cold. You won't seem distant. But something about you will feel different, more solid, harder to move, like someone who doesn't get backed into corners anymore, like someone whose yes actually means something because it stopped being automatic. People treat you differently when they realize you can't be answered into compliance, when they realize your silence is a choice and your agreement has to be earned. That shift doesn't come from demanding respect. It comes from stopping giving it away for free. One question at a time. The strategists who built lasting power spent their lives watching power move between people. And the single clearest pattern they found was this: the people who fall are never the ones who get overpowered. They're the ones who get asked the right question from the right person at the right moment, and everything collapses, not through force, through a conversation that felt safe until it wasn't. 5 centuries later, the questions have changed their clothes. They haven't changed their function. They still extract. They still disarm. They still position the asker above the answerer. And the only defense that has ever worked is the one you now carry with you. The pause, the space, the ability to hear a question and choose instead of comply. Most men will live their entire lives answering every question that comes their way, nodding when they should hold still, agreeing when they should stay silent, explaining when they should walk away, and they'll wonder why they keep ending up in positions they didn't choose, carrying weight they didn't pick up, defending decisions they didn't make. They'll never trace it back to the conversations. They'll never hear the question behind the question, but you will, because you hear it now. If something shifted in you watching this, something that doesn't shift back, write it in the comments. Write, I guard my answers. Let me see how many people watching this are done being the person who always says yes, always explains, always gives, every time someone asks in the right tone. And the next video, watch it. Because what I'm going to show you next goes even deeper than this. The 5 questions taught you what to protect. What's coming next will show you what to build, and the man who can do both, protect what's his and build what matters. That man cannot be stopped. Stay with me.